All right. Looks like we are live, everybody. What's going on? It is Brian from SeacoastBeverageLab.com, and this is the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast for the 20th of June, 2016. Fresh off the heels of a lot of stuff that happened last night. I don't know if you guys watch NBA Finals. We got LeBron doing his thing. I don't know if you guys watched Money in the Bank, but Dean Ambrose doing his thing. I guess something was going on with the Game of Thrones because my whole Twitter feed's freaking out about that. So, having a podcast on Monday means you got a lot to talk about from Sunday night, but we're talking about none of that. We're talking about beer today, and I'm sitting here drinking a nice small growler of Iron Duke Dead Nuts from Iron Duke Brewery in Ludlow, Massachusetts. I happened upon it with Rick Brews on Twitter yesterday for Father's Day, and we went there and did a little drinking. But let's give it up for new dad. Well, not really new dad, but a dad of another one. Ben, congratulations, my man, on the newborn. Did he just leave? He just left. Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, Carla, I'm throwing it to you instead. What's going on, Carla?
Hey, Beer Babe here. I'm outside, so if you hear any random noises in the background, they're totally birds. On the longest day of the year, figured I'd take advantage of that. I am drinking a Rising Tide, what was formerly called just the Goza, which is now named Pisces. There's some beautiful can art of a big fish here.
Nice.
Delicious.
Nice.
And I've just come back from my second trip in 3 weeks to California. And I also stopped at New York on the way back to visit my mom. So I've been kind of all over, and now I'm like, oh, hey, home backyard. I remember what this looks like.
Yeah. And you're outside because it's the solstice. It's the longest day of the year, isn't it?
Longest day of the year, might as well.
Perfect. Speaking of perfect, Sean.
Hey! I didn't know if you were talking about Ben that time.
No, not this time.
Hey, I'm Sean Jansen from TwoBeerGuys.com. For some reason, Carla and I might be on the same page. I am also drinking a Rising Tide Pisces, which is the Goza, or the Goes.
Very cool, very cool. And I set Ben up pretty big a couple seconds ago. He just shut it down. But again, congrats, Ben, on your newborn. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Just trying to get some sleep. Went back to work today. That was awesome. I'm drinking Foundation Zerzing, their new sour farmhouse. Very, very delicious. And much needed after a long day.
Nice. We got two Gozas, a sour, and an IPA to kick off the show. Good stuff. The show, again, if you guys are listening on your MP3 players, your Zunes, what have you, you can go over to sblpodcast.com to listen to kind of read along. I have the show notes there. We're going to talk about some stuff from around this neck of the woods first, get over to some world news after that, and then end with some events. But to kick it off, it wouldn't be a podcast about beer without talking about Treehouse, the brewery out of Munson, Massachusetts. And they recently broke ground in Charlton, Mass. And the first story is just basically them saying they got the permits to start building. So they got the approval to build the 51,200 square foot building on Sturbridge Road in Charlton, Massachusetts. So
how far away is that from Munson?
I want to say that it's not that bad. I think it's 2 towns away because I believe it goes Munson, Sturbridge, Charlton. If you are heading east on the Mass Pike. So I
was going to say the only thing I know about Charleston is that it has a rest area on the Mass Pike.
Yeah, so I bet if you looked up Sturbridge Road to where they are now, it shouldn't be that far. But again, I hear Charlton and I think easy access because there's a Charlton rest stop on the Mass Pike, which is Route 90. So I think it could be.
Without knowing the new address, just say you're like going in the middle of Charlton. It's about 20 miles, which would equate to about 31 minutes.
Okay. Oh yeah, from Munson, yeah, because what's the weird part about where Treehouse is now is it's not exactly off of any highway. It takes a lot of back roads to get there. Sean, you've been recently.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like you get off the pike, but then it's like you still got at least 20 minutes to go.
I think I actually passed a horse and buggy on the way there.
Totally. Oh, you were in Pennsylvania. You went way too far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but good news for them. It's going to be a huge building. It looks like it'll be ground floor of brewery operations. They're they're brewery-only beers, a 5,000 square foot retail space with samplings, a big driveway, and they expect to employ 30 people. Because I don't think I'm not sure if they even employ half of that right now. But so creating jobs, creating beer, creating a lot more space. Because if you look at their Twitter, I know Ben and I talk about this a couple times a week. They post their line on Twitter, and Wednesday afternoons, lines around the building. In the afternoon, it's crazy. But
interestingly enough, their neighbor from the first brewery is building a house next door.
Really?
No, that's no.
No.
How do you mute again?
You click the X in the top right corner. But yeah, no. So good for them. We're gonna be hearing a lot more about that because I believe their expected go date was 2017. So if they got the permits, they're gonna get going. And imagine that loan. We were talking about. Who was it? Night Shift. They got that big loan. So they got a huge loan. I know Jack's Abbey's adding some things, and Carla, you were visiting Bissell Brothers in their big expansion. So these kind of heavyweights of the industry are starting to become even bigger. And Carla, I don't know if we talked about your thoughts on it. Did you talk about it last time? What'd you think about the new Bissell Brothers?
Oh, I don't know if we did. The Bissell Brothers new spot, the pluses, the huge pluses are the fact that it's way bigger. So if you're coming over there for a can release, or if you're just coming over to get a sample, they've really the whole first floor area is open. So you can go and not be winding around the block, in a line to do what you need to do. It has a very Los Angeles skater punk kind of vibe to it, so it really doesn't feel like you're in Maine when you're in there, but it's really cool. There's always something, some kind of music playing. They have both an indoor and an outdoor space, and inside they have the second level that you can kind of hang out at and look down at the masses, kind of chilling. I went on a weekday. I have not been at peak time, so I don't know how it's a Saturday, but honestly, it's a really cool area, and the fact that it's down by Thompson's Point is also right next door to Cellar Door Winery, so you could do the beer thing and the wine thing same time if you wanted to. Very cool.
Are there any hotel recommendations or in that area, or is it just are you better just staying in Portland and coming out to Thompson's Point?
Well, the Clarion is right by the bus station. Well, what's kind of cool is that you can walk to it from both the bus and the train station.
We did talk about
if you just want to walk on a bus or a train from Boston and just show up at Bissell Brothers and have a couple of samples and then go over to the winery too, totally easy. But there's a couple of hotels right in that little neighborhood right there, but. Depending on what you want to hit up, it's sometimes easier just to stay on the peninsula and take, Uber around to wherever you want to go. But if you're coming in by train, it should be your first stop. You should just walk off the train and go over to Bissell.
I'm hoping to get there. I mean, it's I say it now, but July 4th weekend is probably the time I will be able to go there. But
sounds like it's gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Are they open on July 4th weekend?
Well, I mean the weekend. I mean, so July 4th is on a Monday. So I mean, I'm thinking not this weekend, but the following weekend that I'd go. Just check it out, because I definitely can't make a Portland day trip.
Well, the following weekend is the Beer Bloggers Conference. So are you going to that?
Negative. Because of weddings and other things, people like to get married and have babies. And we have showers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's tough out there. I know you. I know.
Showers.
I take showers daily, but no. But I know Carla, you and Sean are going, representing. So thank God. And I'm a little jealous. I am a lot jealous because it's in Tampa, and I'd like to check it out. But as usual, I hype it up and I can't go, so it's cool. Because money in, money out is how that works.
Yeah. What I usually do is I earn all my JetBlue points all year, and then I just cash them in for wherever the Beer Bloggers Conference is.
Smart.
So far, that's worked out pretty well. Because they've all been in cities that JetBlue flies to. If they pick one that JetBlue doesn't fly to, I might be screwed.
I mean, I'm hoping next year it's, it comes back to Boston, it'd be nice and easy. Or just stay up in Portland, it'd be nice. But staying in that area, we were about Bissell Brothers, there's a Foul Mouth Brewing. It's a new brew pub opening up in South Portland.
Yeah, so it's been a while since I shouldn't say that. Norway Brewing's technically a brew pub too, but there's been some excitement about the fact that there's going to be a new brew pub, like a legit, new, shiny, awesome brew pub right in South Portland. So it's literally just over the bridge from Portland proper. Again, talking about Uber, just like a really quick Uber ride. But I just caught a post on Facebook. They've been very like, I want to say modest with their details about their opening. You know what I mean? They've kind of been doing the, oh well, we'll let you all know, and like not really being very abashed about it, but it's making people like kind of excited. And I just caught Mike LaSheriday had posted that they will be that Foulmouth will be open this weekend. Whether that's for a soft or a grand opening, I'm not sure. But I'm really kind of excited because Craig, who is the brewer there, he is a really well-known home brewer in the area, and he's also has been a brewer some time at Ebenezer's Brew Pub. For a while as kind of an apprentice brewer there, and brews some really creative things. I had like a rhubarb beer that he made, and I don't know what they're planning their beer lineup, but it's kind of a different new brewery for us. You know what I mean? It's not the typical like, oh, I'm gonna make a nano and serve it to you out of my industrial park. It's different.
Wait, so do you know what's going to be like? What's around in the area that they're in, or is it already a destination, or is it going to be a place that people have to seek out?
No, it's not it's one of those neighborhoods that's kind of turning over, but there's really not a lot in that neighborhood now. But it will be South Portland's second brewery. The other one being Four River, which is just down the road from the other bridge. So what's kind of cool about that is that means that there's a whole community of people in South Portland that now don't have to leave the peninsula to have their own, place to hang out at a brewery, or a brew pub, and that's a big deal. So it's kind of awesome. So for those of you who don't know geography, Portland is kind of like a peninsula, and then there's some bridges that go back to the spit of land underneath the peninsula, and that's South Portland. And the bridge is kind of the I have to go all the way over the bridge, even though it's not that far. It's kind of nice, you know what I mean? But it's nice that they have their own neighborhoods forming down there now, and we'll see. The area that it's in, there's not a lot near it yet, but it kind of is one of those neighborhoods that has potential. So I guess we'll see what comes in there. But it's going to be open theoretically this weekend, and if I have more details, I'll tweet them. But that's all I know.
Well, so you mentioned Mike LaSheriday said something. And then you mentioned Ebenezer's Pub again. But does Mike have anything to do with the actual place, or is it just him supporting it?
It's just him supporting it. He helped. I'm pretty certain helped design and install their system because he does a lot of consulting work like that, and he knows Craig really well. Yeah. So they. The brew pub, is I'm trying to see if I can really quickly find what size it is, but I don't even have that. But it's gonna be neat. They have a local chef. They have some. It's gonna be a 48-seat restaurant, it used to be an auto garage.
Whoa,
nice.
That's a cool change.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking auto garage, we can talk about auto sales floors and White Birch Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm.
But we can move on quickly to the next story. Let's see. No, in Hooksett, the White Birch is located inside an old auto sales.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. That's cool.
But let's move on to other news and guests that we should have had on earlier, and now that we're gonna have, if we have him on, he'll be with someone else. But Mitch Steele of Stone Brewing Company is leaving. He joined up in Stone. It's been about 10 years. Since 2006 is when he joined up, and he was a brewmaster at Stone, and he's going to start one of his own breweries. It's kind of there's a video in the show notes that'll do a much better explanation. But his last day at Stone will be June 30th. So kind of a titan in the craft beer industry, going on to do another thing. And this is amidst. Didn't we talk about Greg Cook leaving as CEO? So a lot of stuff happening, a lot of moving and shaking.
And from the article, it said that they're not replacing him, but they're the current staff will be kind of taking over the reins of what they were doing. And
and Mitch Steele has ties back to here. He's done a couple brews with Smutty Nose, Portsmouth Brewery. So I mean, it's.
Well, he used to be a brewer at Anheuser-Busch and Merrimack.
Yep. So there's a good chance we'll see him back here anyway, just on other things, but with another brewery to be mentioned. So keep an eye on the interwebs for what's going on with that. But I mean, it's really kind of it's odd because you would think a guy like that would have his own thing already, but no, he's just kind of doing his own thing now, which is good for him.
Yeah, pretty neat.
And that is a cool story, though. You know, brewing in Anheuser-Busch and Merrimack, going to a, you know, one that's anti all of that, and then now going out on your own. So that'll be a book someday.
I smell a segue coming.
Oh, wait a second. Speaking of which, speaking of wait, these segues in New Hampshire? Never mind. Stone. Who wants to take this next one? Anyone want to grab this next article?
Oh,
Good
yeah, I can take that.
Good stuff.
I just wanted to keep the silence going as long as possible.
Oh,
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God.
I want the third article.
All right, so
Since-
who wants to talk about this true craft thing? Anybody?
I'll talk about it.
Thank God, somebody.
Well, so this is Stone announced that they're launching a company called TrueCraft, which is going to be basically an investment company that will help smaller breweries who are facing maybe tougher financial decisions and contemplating the idea of selling out to one of the big beer corporations, the mega corporations. So instead of going down that route, TrueCraft will be some sort of partner, more of an investor, to give them the funds to kind of keep them on track and keep them within the true craft beer world. You know, nothing comes for free, so I'm sure that there's a cost to this for any smaller brewery that gets in a partnership. But you know, at the same time, if it keeps craft, then it seems like a good thing to me.
And there's also some points in the article that mentioned that it'll help smaller breweries the opportunity to buy grain and resources at a collaborative with other partners in their group, and possibly even use either you know, that back end of the service, whether it's HR or legal services or things of that nature, where they can combine with other folks that really are kind of just smaller organizations that don't have the capability to do everything on their own, which is kind of cool.
And they're using some. I mean, as Greg is wont to do, he puts some pretty serious vocabulary in his statements. What one quote here is: some people start companies to sell out. Some start companies because they're compelled to follow their passion. So he's doing a lot of calling out of breweries that have, quote unquote, sold out in his terms. But you know, it's kind of enticing for someone that reads this and maybe wants to have a shot with, you know, having Stone's investment money in on this. But doesn't Sam Adams do something similar to this? Where they have like a fund for smaller brewers.
They have something with their ingredients, right? Like something.
I don't know. So it sounded like this is something that's already been done or is being done, because I know obviously they have the long shot competition, but I thought they had something where you can isn't it like a I'll look it up.
Yeah, they have like a small business grant or something.
Yeah.
Don't they? But it's almost like, but that's a little different than having an investment. You know what I mean? Like,
any chance you're thinking of the Enjoy Beer group that was kind of started with the former CEO of Harpoon, Rich Doyle, where I think Abita was one of the first ones that kind of brought into their group that way? Any chance you're thinking of that?
I don't know. I for some reason I thought I had a Sam Adams in mind, but no, I think this is a cool thing. The next thing in line should be a brewery Shark Tank. So who's with me on that?
Do it.
You have Greg Cook, Jim Cook, and you know Peter Eggleston on the panel looking at you. Okay, what do you got for me? Go. So let's go from Stone to Sierra Nevada, Carla. What's going on with them?
all right, so speaking of the Beer Bloggers Conference, a few of us got to go down to the new facility that Sierra Nevada built down in Asheville, North Carolina, the Mills River Brewery, and we got an awesome tour that included like detailed descriptions of what was going on with all of the environmental stuff that they've put into this brewery. And as a result of all of the things that they've done, they've actually now been granted the platinum status for leadership in energy and environmental design, those LEED buildings. and it is the only U.S. production brewery that has reached that level of certification. So Smutty Nose has a gold one for their new facility that they built in Hampton. But the things that they did to get this platinum status is kind of amazing. So I'm sure there's going to be a link to this story in the show notes, but it's everything from generating their own electricity through some photovoltaic, solar panels and these little mini turbines, to tons of stuff about wastewater recovery so that they're not wasting water, and just in general using reclaimed materials, reducing their trash and all kinds of things. But it's like super high tech, and just to kind of have them really keep that in mind as they're building a new brewery is like really an example that they can lead for other breweries. But there's some really neat stuff in here, and I encourage you to kind of read up on some of that. But it's awesome. I for the longest time, breweries didn't really have to do any of that. Nobody really, not that they didn't have. I don't know. I feel like people are now seeing the whole of the business and the ethics of businesses. You know what I mean? So you can look at Sierra Nevada, brewing and go, okay, they care about the impact that they're making, when they do something like this.
Yeah.
But it's no small investment. I mean, like the whole brewery had to be designed that way. You know what I mean? This is not something you can do after the fact.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, well, let me slap some solar cells on the roof. It's yeah.
I mean, and it all even starts as early as like the very first bullet point is resource recovery, and during the construction, it says the brewery was able to divert 81% of total waste away from landfills. So it starts even before the brewery's even done. So like if you can kind of get these, hit these milestones, and I mean even for Smutty Nose, kind of the easy way to them to explain it was hybrid parking spaces, bike to work spots. It can start as easy as that, and then it can get deeper as the wastewater treatment and things like that. So tons of stuff you can do, and it's super super important. And then obviously having the platinum is going to set a huge benchmark for breweries to do the same.
Yeah,
it seems
and I
like
really
it's a good thing for places like Sierra to take advantage of the certification being something that exists already, so that people who are planning and building have the opportunity to do something like that. You can't blame existing breweries for not being certified when they're kind of just starting off and using the space that they have as best that they can. But it is a good opportunity for people who are expanding or moving to a different location. I mean, I'm sure Sierra's not going to change their existing California brewery to get up to this kind of same level of standard, but maybe they'll do what they can for whatever's within reason.
Yeah, and I bet you it's just as hard to keep the platinum certificate, because I'm sure it's easy to lose it if you don't keep up with all this stuff. Because it's not like something you get and then we have it, so now we can just shut everything down, wall off the solar panels, we got it, shut her down. But it's probably takes a lot of resources to keep it up. Shano, isn't there? Is it Flying Goose that has a bunch of solar panels too? So I don't know if that has anything to do with LEED certification, but a lot of breweries doing things to to save energy and stuff. I know Flying Goose up in New London does a bunch with solar energy powering their brewery. A lot of other breweries in the area trying to do the same thing. Are you? I know you see a lot of breweries, Sean. Are any other breweries come to mind that are kind of doing some things to make the world a better place?
I'm trying to think. A lot of it's like wastewater.
I know that
things.
There's a lot that do stuff to conserve water, because one of the biggest breweries is the fact that they use so much water, just in the production process, but also in all of the cleaning and the sanitation and whatnot that has to go on in the process of brewing. And there's a few, and I wish I could remember who they were, that got some kind of an award for really reducing their wastewater, and that's not necessarily something they do via construction, but they do via practices, so they collect the water that they use for, rinsing out kegs, and they, use it to do something, what I mean? They kind of, re-divert it around and get more use out of it, instead of just, putting it down the drain all the time.
Well, you know that.
And frankly, that's probably good for the bottom line, because you got to pay for the sewer bill or whatever. Sorry, what were we gonna say, Sean?
That Throwback actually treats their
Yeah.
water in different holding tanks before, and they have different processes that they go through to check the water to be before it actually goes out to. I think water and probably solar power is what people do the most. I mean, there's, some breweries out there have tried to like have these things that are like a coffee press to kind of press down the grains to be able to get the most liquid out of it, but also to increase the dry or speed up the drying process on that grain. And then other than the fact that a lot of people use their grains and their other stuff to go for cattle and other farm animals, but
Yeah, so good on them, and hopefully a call out to other breweries to just put some of this into consideration. Not obviously not go all in if you can't, but just do some things.
Yeah.
But so Shano, actually, quick shout out. We mentioned Bissell a while back, but shout out to Frosty DG. He is showing off one of the newest glassware offerings from Bissell Brothers, and boy, that stemmed glass is pretty sweet. The link will be in the show notes because that's a cool looking glass.
definitely. Next is just a quick chat with over the weekend. Was this just this actual last weekend, right?
I think so.
The National Homebrewers Conference was held, and the 2016 winners were announced. There was about 3,000 people that went to Baltimore this year because it changes every year for the three-day extravaganza of homebrewing culture and community. This year saw 7,962 entries from 3,396 homebrewers located in all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and 13 other countries. So there were 1,074 out of those almost 8,000 entries that were evaluated by some of the top. I think that actually were awarded. The winners this year.
It's a lot of beer. It's a lot of beer.
Was from San Marcos, California, a gentleman named Nick Corona, who made a Weiss beer. He was homebrew of the year.
Like the best beer in the U.S. Like that's it.
Was a Weiss beer.
It's awesome.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not sure if that's him in the photo. It doesn't say, but there's a good photo of a fist pump to the stars. Like in the link in the show notes, that guy's pumped. So he won something. It might be Nick.
It could be him. And most importantly, they announced where next year's Homebrewers Conference is for the 39th rendition of the event.
Wait. Most importantly, you're burying the lead here.
I did?
Yeah. Category 3, European Amber Lager, second place. Friend of the podcast, Steve Mayo, Derry, New Hampshire.
No way.
Right.
Wow.
Oh, you jumped into the details. I didn't.
Oh,
it's not in this article.
It's called journalism, and his name's Ben Watts. He's on it.
There he is. Look at that guy.
Yeah, big shout out to Steve. He's in the chat.
Congrats.
He's in the chat once in a while. That's awesome. We saw him. Brian and I ran into him at Deciduous a couple weeks ago.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Very cool.
How'd you find that?
I knew that he had won before.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We're an ever evolving podcast. We have people looking at the notes as someone else is reading something else. We're going all over the place. But yeah, Sean, where is next year's?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Ooh, Twin Cities. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm in. I don't homebrew, but I'll just go hang out. I mean,
Where?
homebrewers are some of the coolest people. What's that called?
Where is it? I didn't hear it.
Minneapolis.
I've never been to Minneapolis. You ever been to Minneapolis?
Ben, great. Ooh, nice. I found another winner.
Oh yeah, what do you got?
Category number 23A, a silver medal from the Merrimack Valley Homebrew Club in Massachusetts. It went to Marco Borba of Littleton, Mass.
All right.
For a fruit beer.
Cool.
Yeah,
Route 2A, shout out.
Any Mainers on that list?
Well, you got to give me a second.
Oh,
or
Sean,
go on to something else.
Come on. No, yeah, so big shout out, and those are some of the coolest people to hang out with. That is probably going to be a fun conference. Is homebrewers. I mean, some of the coolest dudes and girls.
Yeah, they party too.
Yes.
I'll tell you that.
Actually, maybe now that I mentioned, I'm too scared to go to one. Sean's looking that up. Let's talk about some events that are coming up this weekend. If this podcast is up by then, it should be. I'm heading up north to Loon Mountain in Lincoln, New Hampshire, for their something annual New England Brew Fest. And I just looked today, and everything except for the regular fest, but all the VIP stuff and the dinners and brunches before and after it are sold out. So good for them for selling that VIP session out. VIP session, there's a dinner train. I think One Love Brewery is doing a dinner, and then there's the Hop Talks. Seth Simonian is doing some presentations with brewers in one day. All of it's sold out, but if you still want tickets to the actual beer fest, nebrewfest.com. It's a pretty sweet fest. The list of brewers is building by the day. So maybe your favorite brewer will be going, but there's always some new ones. So it should be good times. I know Sean Carla, you've been years past. It's a good looking fest right at the base of Loon Mountain.
It's a fun time.
It's spread out. It was fun to be outside. The weather's looking good too, so that should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm hoping to either go to Tuckerman's in Moat Mountain before, or go to Littleton to Schilling before, but my plans are still in limbo, but we will see. But I do want to check out Tuckerman's new place. It's been a while. It's been since they've opened. I haven't seen the new place. Have you seen it, Sean?
Tuckerman's new place?
Yeah, their bigger place.
Partially done, not all the way done.
Not all the way done yet? Okay.
No, they're all the way done now.
You saw partially done.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Maybe I'll head that way because it's kind of easy to go there. But yeah, it looks like there's also a Great Falls Brew Fest, Carla, that you're heading to.
Yeah. So this is one of the ones that, other than the Maine Brewers Guild Fest, this is my other favorite fest in Maine. They hold it in Lewiston, Maine, and to everyone who's never been to Lewiston, they always look at me like, Lewiston. But honestly, it's a really well-run fest. They take over this huge park. They have food trucks. They have music, actual bands playing music, and there's still tickets available. So if you are in Maine and you don't have anything to do this weekend, you need to be there. Yes. They're going to have everybody, everybody who's the who's who of Maine brewing is going to be there, and most of the time, a lot of brewers go to this fest. And for once, this year it doesn't line up with the one in Bangor. So that means that everybody will be at this one. The one in Bangor was last week. So it ends up not being a conflict. Last year they were both, so there were some breweries that could only send one, could only be one or the other. So it's nice to see that. I don't know off the top of my head how many breweries are coming, but they're all good, so just show up.
I'll take your word for it. Yes, go.
Yeah, it's just so well done. It's very, very refreshing. If you've been to a lot of kind of throwing together fests, this is definitely not one of those.
Awesome. Let's see, Sean, did you end up finding out if there's any Maine or any more New England winners from that homebrew conference?
Unfortunately, no Maine winners, no Rhode Island winners. There were one Vermont winner and 5 Connecticut winners.
Cool. CT doing work.
Exactly.
Coming up, I swear.
Getting it done.
Yes. We were just talking about something, Ben, in Connecticut. I forget what it was, though. A brewery. All the good stuff. Because as you're saying, Connecticut's doing big things.
Yeah, we were talking about the GABF award winners. I think Stony Creek or somebody.
Yeah. Yep.
One big down there for Belgium.
Gotta get down there. So that's gonna do it. I don't know, Ben. Do you have anything going on besides life? Literally creating life. Do you have anything going on? Beers you're looking for, place you want to go to?
No, I did get up. Was able to get up to Portland a couple weeks ago, last weekend rather. The day before the baby came, my son got to run around the bases at the Sea Dog.
That's cool.
Which is really cool for him. He really liked it. And I bought my $8 Baxters there. I went down to Banded Horn, checked that place out. always a good time there. It's nice to get a little away time, you know.
Oh yeah. I was asked this weekend, Ben, if I've ever been to the Lincoln, and the answer was yes,
Yeah,
because we've been there.
absolutely.
But what I didn't know, I forget who told me. I didn't know this, but everything there is $5.
Yeah,
Didn't know it.
Lincoln.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had no idea. And I forget who asked me about it, but I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, cool. Carla, besides the beer fest coming up, I know you went to LA. Any standouts?
I did find a brewery, and it was called, oh man. There was a brewery in downtown LA, Arts District Brewing Company, that I got recommended by somebody from Allagash that works out there as a rep. They recommended I go down there, and it was just the coolest place ever. They had skee ball, and they had skee ball and darts and pool and cribbage, and just it was fun. It was huge and laid out like basically it was like an arcade with beer, and their beer was very good. I had a couple of really nice IPAs from them. If you're in the downtown LA area, there's a little section called the Arts District that I was completely unaware of, and it's just one of those places that has like a food truck park and a art gallery and a trendy burger place where probably everything is like $100. You know, I don't know.
Oh,
But
that place.
it was very cool. It was worth finding, and if you're in the LA area, you should check it out, Arts District.
So you were there last week, right?
Yeah, so I was there this previous week and then 2 weeks ago.
So you were there last week during E3. Did you notice, was it crazy packed there, the Electronic Entertainment Conference Expo?
I was kind of away from the city for the actual work that I was doing.
not some video game stuff.
No, but the people in the airport last night were going absolutely crazy about the NBA game.
Yeah.
Because they were all like standing near the TVs, like, and every time somebody scored at the end of that game, like you could hear it through the whole airport. It was cool.
Someone's got to put on a WWE network on one of those TVs, but that's another podcast that Ben and I are working on. Dads that watch wrestling or something.
It is interesting to see that if you check out nesson.com, you can see wrestling news.
It's happening. I'm just saying, Worcester. Never mind, forget it. We're not getting into it. Shano, what's going on? I know you can't attend this weekend, but is there anything going on in the next week or so for you that beer-wise? I know you were doing a founders dinner a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was at the new Bedford Village Inn Hotel.
How's that?
It's very nice. It's on the same property in Bedford as the BVI. It's a really fun beer dinner. A lot of good food during it. Am I doing anything fun? I'll tell you this. Wednesday's packed. Or, I mean Thursday this week.
No.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything necessarily. There's a bunch of just tap takeovers that I'm going to be going to.
Well, cool. I can't say besides this long weekend coming up. Keep an eye on all of our Instagrams and stuff. I'll be doing. There's a dinner train on the Cafe Lafayette that I'll be on. They never tell you what beers are pouring, but I'll be there on that train. I went last year. It was nice. I'm looking forward to trying One Love Brewery. They started in Dover, New Hampshire, and they have since moved, and they are now pouring their own beers. They weren't last year, so it'd be cool to taste some of their beers out of the new system. Shout out to that. That's all that I have. Again, the show notes are up on sblpodcast.com if you are listening and want to check out some of the stuff we talked about, including the list of events and nonsense. But if anyone does not have anything else to talk about, we are going to shut her down. Carla, we good? We're good
and we're losing daylight, so it's kind of funny.
Sunsets on Carla. It's perfect. But Ben, Sean, Carla, as per usual, thank you for the show. And guys, tell a friend about the show. SBLpodcast.com, Mondays around 8:30. And cheers, guys, to craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.